Hello, MGTOW. Hello, men. This is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. So, it's been a very long time. Uh, I was last live about 5, 6 hours ago. No, seriously, though, I haven't been live where I could actually, go live for about 5 or 6 years. So, it's been a while. I've been around, but I just haven't been able to, I didn't have the equipment, I didn't have the internet connection, things like that. So, I'm curious if you guys can hear me okay. I don't know because um, basically I'm just setting up the production uh, for future production. Right now, I've got a few things that I want to talk to you guys about, um, and there's a couple things that I want to try out before this gets really serious. And the thing is that I eventually will start producing a great deal of content. It's just what I do, or it's what I've done, right? And it's a setup. These things start in a kind of small, simple way, but it builds up. So this is really just the beginning of me setting up, like a virtual studio. Uh, can you guys hear me okay? Hey, Shinobi, thanks for stopping by. I don't even know if my audio is coming through yet. There's one way I could find out. So, as I said, I've got a few things planned. Now, I'm going to have to go and check my own audio, is what I'm going to have to do. Give me a moment here. No, I'm not going to be able to do it that way. So, one of the things I want to talk about is Mr. Big Balls, because, this is a serious issue that, has come up lately. The idea that a young man working for Elon Musk, who has nicknamed himself one time or another, online as Big Balls, and this is causing a serious issue for the left and for the Democrats. Big balls in Doge. Okay, good. So you guys can hear me, right? The audio's okay. The idea, of trying to publicly humiliate and shame, a smart, active, intelligent young man because he's acting like a young man, it's shameful, right? And we've been doing this now for ages. We've been tearing the men to pieces. I want to give you a little correction. Earlier today, I was talking about the U.S. aid uh, slush funds and how, one of the things that they're doing is they're promoting things like trans activism, rap music in other countries to destabilize the country and to perform regime change, to bring the government down and to replace it with one that we prefer. And they're funding, these very woke, uh, negative culture ideas. Audio is not terrible. Audio has a bit of echo, not too disturbing though. Thank you for the feedback. This is what I need, okay? I'm not in a situation where I can monitor this stuff live in real time. I don't have that much equipment yet. So, yeah, I need the feedback. There's things I can do with the audio. Where was I? Yeah, so a lot of these programs, I'm implying that it's a bunch of, dirty, rotten, manipulative, traitorous Democrats who are doing it. Republicans are doing it too. And you can understand that a lot of the activities that this U.S. aid fund is, fulfilling, these are things going on that we as a country might want to continue to do, even if they are as ugly as they are. So it's not completely black and white, but it's pretty bad. You know, uh, One of the things I want to talk to you about tonight is George Soros and the uh, fact that what he's doing is he's getting prosecutors, district attorneys elected into, various states and counties, and then they get to determine what crimes, okay, to prosecute. They get to determine what people to come after. They get to determine how severe they're coming after any particular person. So they get to decide, okay, who they're going to prosecute. It's not what you think. In other words, if you get accused of a crime, they're going to choose to prosecute the hell out of you because of your skin color. And if somebody else gets indicted on a crime, they might choose to pretty much just let that person go based on their skin color. So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the corruption of our own criminal legal system. Right? It's like, you've committed a serious crime. We're going to prosecute you. You're looking at 10, 20 years. Okay. Another person commits the exact same crime. And it's like, it's your first offense. It's only your third offense. It's not a violent offense. We're going to look the other way on this one. So it's not justice for all. It's not equal justice. It's not blind justice. It's selective justice, and it's bought and paid for. And it's not simply George Soros's money getting these district attorneys elected. It's the USAID fund also giving $27 million to their parent company, to their overseeing, government agency. And then that agency is distributing this money to these district attorneys. And they're prosecuting people based on social issues. Sup? Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I appreciate it. As James says, it's a bigger deal than you think. We're going to find out that we have been living in, the Truman Show, that this isn't the reality that we think it is. They're paying the reporters of our own news agencies to go after our own citizens, to find corruption, to accuse them of crimes, to indict them, to cancel the people, to blacklist the people, to drive them out of the country. And it's being done with our tax dollars. And it's being done to us. We see all these, I've seen a lot of videos, like Andrew Tate and a lot of other people. Suddenly, the entire justice system just turns on them and they're coming after them. And it's like, this is a really bad guy. It's not a bad guy. It's just somebody that they're coming after. For example, Mr. Big Balls, right? I stand with big balls. I think we should all stand with big balls. I'm just saying, so you're going to tear down a young, intelligent, ambitious young man on that? That's his crime? That he's actually kind of, bragging a little bit as a man? That's what you're going to punish him for? Oh, yeah, the other thing he did, this is going to shock the hell out of you, is one of his companies was named Sexy Tesla LLC. Now, I don't know about you, but that level of obscenity really just can't be tolerated, right? Sexy Tesla LLC. They're coming after him for naming one of his companies that. Right? And these are a bunch of shrill, postmenopausal, fat women. These are the sensibilities that control our country, that determine whether or not you get a job, that determine whether or not the criminal justice system is going to prosecute you. I've been through this. I've watched this. Put your money in an Andrew Tate meme coin. Tate is trash. Has he started up a meme coin? That's crazy. Oh yeah, he's trash, right? But that's not a crime. Like, that's not what you put people in jail for. So let's watch a video. All right. Well, actually, no. First, let's look at the George Soros prosecution stuff. That's what I want to do first. Okay. So check this out. Here we are. Follow the money, mapping the Soros prosecution funding. It's an interactive map of the United States with the Soros-linked progressive prosecutors. These are the people that he's gotten elected as prosecutors, okay? Over the past decade, billionaire George Soros has spent at least $50 million to elect scores of social justice prosecutors across the country. These district attorneys, who represent over 70 million people, or more than 1 in 5 Americans, often pursue pro-criminal, anti-police policies. This report tracks Soros' prosecution funding, affiliations, and actions. Let's take a little bit better look at the map. Here we are. He's got them in all many of the major cities all over the country. I'm sure that he's got other people. Yes, district attorneys are often elected, okay? And then that particular district attorney then picks out all of their prosecutors. And then they all meet and get together and look at any given particular indictment, and they decide, how they're going to proceed, what charges they're going, to put out there, and whether or not they're going to move forward with the case. I was, in a hung jury at one point, and, which gets declared a mistrial. And I asked the judge, how long can this go on? How many mistrials can they do like this? And his answer to me was, theoretically, indefinitely. Like, you hear these things, it's like, oh, they'll only do it twice. Oh, they'll only do it 3 times. No, they can attempt to prosecute you, okay? Realize that they've got a bad jury that's not sympathetic to what they're doing. They can trash the trial. They can introduce a piece of evidence or some minor stipulation that causes a mistrial. And then they can pick a new jury and do it all over again with a different angle and a different approach. They can even change the charge against you after the trial has already begun. They can charge you with assault, okay? Take you to trial, and then they can, after they picked out the jury, they can then say, yeah, we're going to try you for assault, but we're also going to try you for attempted assault. And it was like, that was never one of the charges. And it's like, yeah, that's right. That was never one of the charges, but it is a lesser charge of the same charge, right? So if they're coming after you for first-degree murder, right? I'm sorry, that's not a joke. They could say at the same time, and we're also trying to prosecute you for second-degree murder or manslaughter, right? So they could do it all at the same time. So here he is all over the country with district attorneys purchased, who then purchase their prosecutors. And not just his money, but the U.S. aid money is also going into these organizations, right? So don't think that this stuff isn't local. Don't think that these psyops aren't going against you. Let's meet some of the prosecutors. Soros DAs, they're all DAs, right? Not a particularly attractive group. There's Kim Gardner from St. Louis, Missouri. She looks like she has some sort of skin disorder, kind of zombie thing going on there. Now we have Stephanie Morales from Portsmouth, Virginia. Okay, that's a black woman. We have Monique Worrell. She's over there in Florida. That's a black woman. We have Scott Cullum over here in Mississippi. That's a black man. We have Kimberly Graham in Iowa. That looks like a white woman. Okay. Moving on, right? Coming on down. Look at all these people. These are all district attorneys. Okay. These are not low-level prosecutors. Oh, look down here at the bottom. There's Alvin Bragg. So the man prosecuting Trump got elected by George Soros financing him. And then U.S. aid, which was essentially in control of the Democrats, was funneling tens of millions of dollars, into the parent organization of these district attorneys. And this particular district attorney decides to go after the Republican nominee for president with a bunch of bullshit charges. I wonder if there's a conflict of interest there. Oh, and they're using your money to do it and my money to do it. And, I don't think we have a lot of money to spare, right? You know what I haven't done today? I haven't eaten. I'm on a new diet of sunlight. Let's see. Okay, back here. So they're putting us in jail for going, oh shit, what the hell happened? Look at that. I'm sorry, guys. Look at that infinite screen. Oh, I see what happened. Okay, I understand. No? Okay, there we go. I switched screens. See, these are some of the little things that I'm just going to have to work through. Thanks for stopping by, Skelly. You've got one of the scariest avatar images I have ever seen. He says, it was sad to see Jim Carrey call out the Illuminati on TV. The only way to know about them in depth is by joining them. No, I don't want to join them, right? You've heard the stories, like the movie Eyes Wide Shut, of these young and upcoming social media influencers getting invited to elite, rich, high-end parties and being indoctrinated into a secret society, which is a series of initiation steps of indulgent gluttony. In other words, they're inviting them into a party and then supplying them with food, drink, drugs. And then once that works, they're moving on to another room and they're supplying them then with perhaps illegal substances and perhaps sex. And then they're going into another place and who knows what they're willing to do at that point. But, if the young person is going along with it, that's pretty much it. They pretty much own that person and control their career forever. Did you hear about Anita Sarkeesian getting a lot of the USAID, slush fund money? Millions for her feminist frequency bullshit videos. Did you watch any of those videos? They sucked ass. They were some of the worst shit you could imagine, okay? And she's getting millions of dollars, and she got it just recently, and she hasn't put out any content for ages. So the influencers that piss you off, okay, they're getting money from the government to put that shit out and to trash you, to trash the other men. Yes, James says, notice they always want you weak and hungry. Exactly. What do you think trans activism is? Do you think you find me one healthy, strong trans athlete, okay? I mean, seriously, here, the women, the trans men, okay, who compete against the women, how about they just compete against the other men? What do you think would happen to them then? Right? So, the trans man who's competing against women, he's a gold medalist. He's a champion. But if he competes against other men, he's the very bottom of the barrel. Yes, they want us weak. They want us sick. They want us at each other's throats. The fact that MAGA was able to create a large enough coalition of the working class Americans was historical. And this is, what we're looking at now. Finally, the voice of the people has spoken. Now it's going to be a fight. We have a serious fight coming our way. What does James say? He says she wore a cute flannel shirt and had a big nose. Otherwise, she was a mid and vapid on a good day. Yeah, but I used to like to pick on her too, I could usually get about 10,000 views off of a good, Anita Sarkeesian video. Those were the old days. Shinobi says, wait a minute, I want to put that one up. Here we go. Good people don't want anything to do with ruling others. Too busy having a good life to live. Exactly. I don't need to tell anybody else what to do or how to think. I can share my opinion. I can disagree with their opinion. And I don't care past that. You know, you know what I mean? And if somebody is trying to convince me too strongly, I'm like, what the hell, bro? I don't really care. What's going on here? So a lot of this kind of inter-MGTOW fighting, interpersonal fighting, like, oh, this guy's not a real MGTOW or so-and-so said such and such. It's like, no, I stay away from that sort of stuff. It really doesn't mean much to me. I want to have my ideas, my opinions. I want to share them with you guys. And that's about it. And I don't need other people to agree with me and shit like that. I don't need to argue with anybody. Although I can, and I actually do like it a little bit. What is Skelly saying? He's saying Pelosi and others can enrich themselves off the taxpayers' money and become the millionaires and billionaires. Bernie Sanders' voice. Yeah, that's a great one, isn't it? Yeah, there's a real champion of the people. He's taking more money from the pharmaceuticals than anybody. I want to watch a video here a little bit. I've got a video of Mr. Big Balls talking with Megyn Kelly, who I do not hate. Okay, it's like, look, let me warn you. Okay, she is a woman. Uh, don't get angry or anything like that. Okay, let me see if I can do this. I just want to watch a little part of one of her videos where we're actually, well, you'll see. Turning on the window capture. Right? Where is it? Ooh, I wonder if we'll get audio. We probably won't get audio here. One sec, people. What happens if I do this? I'm not sure if you guys are getting this video yet. Let me check. No, it doesn't seem like you are. Huh. Got to work out the kinks here. Nah. I'm just getting shocked from the screen. Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, I'm watching the video now. I don't know if you guys are getting it. I don't think you are. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, maybe you are. Okay. Are you guys getting the audio coming off of this? Oh, okay. Yeah. You're probably getting the window capture as I'm switching tabs. I'm sorry about that. Are you guys getting the audio from this particular video? Are you seeing this particular video? I'm pretty sure that's Big Balls himself, right? Good for him. All right. Now, did you guys get to see that video? And did you hear it? No audio. a low radiation tan from that. I've heard other streamers have a queued up tabs aside and have to put it on timely. No audio yet. Yeah. Sorry about that. We're going to get this, fixed up, I promise. I'm going to be able, like, those of you who know me from the past, I'll get some serious animation going on here soon enough. It's going to take me a while, though, to get all of the production things, worked out. Which reminds me, I have an old friend that I want to bring onto the news set. Some of you will recognize my old friend. It's been ages since I've been, on the same set with him, and I've missed him greatly. And I'm sure some of you have as well. So let's bring him back. Where's he at? Here he is. There he is. Now I have to check if you guys are seeing him too. Yeah, I think you are. Yeah, there he is. That's the super chat plant, right? He eats super chats. But it's been a long time, and he's changed his name. He's changed his name to the Cash App plant. That's who he is now. And over time, he grows, right? If he gets food, he gets bigger. Right? See that? And he dances around and eats the flies. So, and he's just one. This is just one. I've got dozens of like old friends that, I was interacting with and bringing on, to live streams. It's great stuff. It really is. It's a lot of fun. And I haven't been able to do it for ages because even though I've been around, my equipment hasn't enabled me to do live streams. And I actually really enjoy the live streams. Now, I've got a treat for some of you guys if you're interested. James remembers the plan. Woohoo! Hey, Rusty Rivers is here. Thanks for stopping by, Rusty. Good to see you. I see you around other MGTOW channels, stuff like that. Sometimes I think that there's some friction going on there. And I, shy away from that, because I don't want to get arrested and put in jail for the rest of my fucking life. Yeah. Hey, this is the world we're coming out of. I say the wrong thing here. You think I'm joking, and I get arrested. So I met this guy a long time ago before I got arrested. And he was an Arab guy. He was a Muslim guy. And he was into computers, and he lived nearby. And I don't want to give you too much details, but he wanted to be friends, okay? He wanted to do a startup company, and he was thinking like he was going to be some sort of, big time entrepreneur. And he might have been. I'm not saying that he couldn't be, but, he was talking a bunch of shit, and I wasn't really interested. But I hung out with him a little bit, went on a few bike rides, went out to lunch a couple times. And he was going through a divorce and sitting there, like getting a burger at some place. And he hops on the phone with his soon-to-be ex-wife. And he's explaining, what's going on, where he's at and shit like that. And then he turns the phone on to me. So he's like, yeah, I'm here with, a guy. He's a friend of mine. He, taking a bike ride. And, his name's Howard. And she wants to see, you know what I mean? So he's got to put the camera on me to see it. Okay. This guy finds out over time that I'm Howard Dare. Okay. He finds out that I'm MGTOW. He tells her, his soon-to-be ex-wife. Okay. She follows me. She finds out who I am. She follows me. I end up getting accused of a horrible crime by her. The police never get to find out that she knows me. They do get to, horrible, horrible stuff. Okay, be careful. Rusty, what's going on? Let's see what's going on. He says, Howard, you were seen on some Factors channels like Iridium Kush. Yes, I have gone to Iridium Kushes. These guys are bad news, Howard. I wouldn't go over there anymore. These guys have gone off the deep end. Yeah, I did notice some of that, Rusty. I noticed like some talk about some sort of like a MGTOW contract or something about like Nestor and stuff like that. See, we've always, well, I shouldn't say always, but there's always been kind of interlopers, kind of, hanging around the fringes of MGTOW, and then trying to come into MGTOW with some very non-MGTOW ideas. I remember Coach Eli, he cracked me up, right? He was, he's probably still around. But, he was coming around MGTOW. This was back, when I was, hadn't been destroyed. And yeah, he wanted to give dating advice to the MGTOW. And he was he was a smaller guy, not very big, not very heavy. But he had a big girlfriend, I think, and she would come on once in a while. Yeah, he was trying to get together with MGTOW. It was funny as fuck. Let's see. She's around. Oh, Carly. Yes, I know Carly. I've seen that name before. She's left comments on some of my videos. I'm pretty sure, well, I was just, like, oh, there's a female speaking in a MGTOW channel. Oh, I'm all impressed, right? It's a bunch of bullshit. That's how easy the men are, right? And you can't be like, oh, Howard, you're so weak. It's like, no, this is a male situation, right? Yeah, I'm reminded, bring me the head of John the Baptist. What is it? The dance of, I forget the name. I forget her name. Yeah. But, another evil story from the Bible, right? John the Baptist goes to visit the king. The queen's daughter, the sexy young nymphette. The king wants her to dance, and to take off the veils. And she will dance if you bring her the head of John the Baptist. So, yeah. So they chop off his head so that the pretty girl will dance. So whose fault was that? Who do we blame in that situation? Do you want to blame the woman? I mean, you can. It was an ugly, horrible way to behave. But it was the king who went along with it based on his lust, based on his, desire. Who's to blame? So if a man gets together with a woman in this day and age, knowing what he knows, and then he gets run through the ringer without any sort of human compassion, who's to blame? Is the woman to blame? We told him she was going to do that. He knew that as soon as he ran out of money, as soon as he lost his job, as soon as he got sick, as soon as his family needed his help and he had to give it to them more than he could give it to her, that she was going to dump him. He knew that. You knew that. Weak men are to blame, says Skelly. Skelly Toon. Ooh, I get it. Skelly Toon. Yes, you can never trust a weak man. You can never trust a weak person. You can never trust a greedy person. You can never trust somebody who wants to fit into the group too much. Like I was talking about the people hanging around on the fringes of MGTOW. Coach Eli, right? No, there was something ugly there. No, a lot of men don't know about women's true nature. And hormonally, physiologically, biologically, they would die for a pretty woman. That's built in. That's how sharp, that's how deep of a hook women have into men. Skelly Toon says, we are in hard times again. I think we're coming out of the hard times. I think we're moving into some better times. I really do. Coach Eli, the name rings a bell, but I done forgot the face. He was a little bald guy. I don't mean to denigrate him like that. I'm not doing that, but he was a smaller guy. He was bald and he generally wore a hat. He had a little mustache. He was very friendly. He was very chatty. But he was having problems with his girlfriend, who was, markedly larger than he, Yeah, one of my rules as a young man was never to get together with a woman that I could just pick up and lift right off of me. I think you understand what I'm saying, right? If I couldn't just pick her up and move her, no, then that was not the woman for me. Oh, yeah, so I do have a special kind of treat for you guys. And all I need is a couple of brave volunteers. Yes. I want to see if I can get any of you guys in here to chat with me. So let's see. And you will recognize that this is a little different. The fact that I can come up here with this screen and invite others in to chat. See, that's the challenge. All right. Well, let's see if we've got any brave souls out there. Let's see if I can get this to work. Oh, yeah, my phone won't allow me to join. It will overheat and combust. It's probably an old Obama phone. They're actually designed to do that. They're actually designed to explode in our pockets at one point. Yeah, this will be very interesting. Yeah, so if any of you are set up out there to hop in onto a stream, go ahead and give it a shot. It's a little tricky. See, you're joining into StreamYard, okay? So no problem there. But I am doing a virtual camera from over in OBS, which allows me to have, animation and stuff like that up on the screen. So what happens when somebody comes in, fellow MGTOW, to StreamYard to chat with me while I'm using the OBS virtual camera? OBS cooked my laptop. Yeah, we can do it. Look, for the longest time, I was stuck making my content on a handheld tablet. I can't tell you how frustrating it is, to sit here and try to edit a video, right? It's like you're controlling where the video starts, where it ends, where the picture starts, where it ends, how the edit happens, things like that, with your fingers on little tiny things. Okay. To create a 10-minute video was taking me 4 or 5 days. And eventually I got okay at it. And what it was is that I had to use CapCut. Okay. That was the only video editor that would do anything near what I wanted to do. So some years ago, I'm sitting there on a little tablet making videos with CapCut. TikTok becomes huge. And eventually, I've gotten, at least to a small laptop here so that I can do a little bit of work, a little bit of video editing. And guess what video editor I love to use now? CapCut. That which I was forced to learn on my little government tablet that's designed to blow up. What's this? Live tour connections are heck on phones and laptops too. Yeah, no doubt. I used to put old phones in the freezer to preserve my cheap phone from not overheating. Yeah, I had, the old cheap Obama phone, and I would try to like bring it onto Zoom, and yeah, it would overheat, and the battery would run out within, hour and a half. Had another phone, and it was a decent phone, but it would just lose the battery charge. Like it would be sitting there at 100%. I'd take the phone out. Maybe I'd look into Google Maps or something like that. 30 seconds later, zero, zero battery, power. Couldn't even turn it back on. Bring it home, plug it in to charge it up, and within 5-10 seconds, it says, "Oh yeah, I'm at 78%." So what I then did is I took the SIM chip out of that phone that had the bad battery that kept going out. And this phone, it's like it's Obama service. In other words, it's government giving me free phone service because I've got no money, because they took it all away because the women are bitches, and because the men are simps, and because if a strong man stands up in their company, they shut him down. Uh, Again, now I've completely lost my point. Yeah, so I took the SIM out of the cheaper Obama phone that was breaking, and I plugged it into a Galaxy A10 Samsung that I just happened to have, and it worked. So now I've got a real phone, and it works. It's amazing, right? Like I can press on an icon and the app comes up, and I can scroll the screen and the screen scrolls. I can hit the volume button and the volume goes up or down, and it responds, within half a second or so. So, it's good. Whereas if the other phone, like I could hit an icon and it would just sit there for 30 seconds, right? Now, that all the free phones that this was Obama's doing, and he used it to institute the Arab Spring, where we did the regime change, on all the Arab nations through social media, right? I'm sure that, while I was watching all of that, I said to myself, gee, I hope they never try to use those tactics here on us, on their own citizens, right? They would never do that. No, that's exactly what they've been doing for a long time. What's this? Shinobi says, yeah, I made everything on my channel with my iPhone 7 with CapCut and other editors. But man, it sucks now that my phone wants to explode. Yeah, I had an iPhone 7. That was nice. It was a smaller one, but, you got to love the feel of, the Apple, iPhones and stuff. When I got arrested, they confiscated it. And when I got out, I was like, yeah, can I get my phone back? And they were like, no, you ain't getting shit back. I got my sneakers back, but without my shoelaces. And I did not get my belt back. iPhones 4 are very repairable. Arab Spring ushered in the MB. I'm not sure what the MB is. Raymond Nelson says, I would never accept an occupational position of employment under a serpent. Never, ever. Now, I think when he says a serpent, I think he might mean a woman, but he might mean a weak man too. I was talking about this earlier today. Let's go all the way back to Adam and Eve, right? So Adam gets the message. You can do anything you want. You can have everything you want, except this one thing. Of this tree, do not eat, for surely if you do, you will die. That's what he's told. Okay? The woman goes, Muslim Brotherhood. Thank you. Thank you, Raymond. The woman goes, gets seduced by the serpent, eats the apple, likes it, brings it to Adam and says, here you go. This is great. And he says, whoa, we're told not to eat that one. And she's like, no, it'll be fine. I've been told it'll be fine. So he says, okay. And he eats it. God finds out, shame, kicked out of the Garden of Eden. Who's to blame? Is Eve to blame? She brought the apple to Adam. She said, give it a shot. He was like, no, I don't think I should. She was like, yeah, go ahead. He was like, yeah, okay. Who's to blame? So if somebody comes to you and says, hey, man, get in the car. And you say, no, I don't want to. I got something else to do. And they say, come on, man, get in the car. It'll be fun. And then you get in the car, and then that car goes and crashes. Who is to blame? Is the person who's driving the car to blame? Or are you to blame for getting into the car? So, yeah, don't work for a serpent. Look, I was talking about it also earlier. Okay, so that's what I was talking about, all right? You can't even really blame Eve. You got to blame Adam for fucking following the woman, right? Now, this brings me into the other point. Women cannot lead men. They really, really can't. Okay, it's not in their biology to be able to do so. They don't love men. They don't cherish men. They will not die for men. They see men as disposable and replaceable and as a nuisance, all right? So if you have a female leader and you're a man, you are in a great deal of trouble. It's just not in their nature. There's not going to be any magnanimity. There's not going to be anything like that. There's always going to be this transactional relationship where she thinks you want to sleep with her. She thinks she has the upper hand on you, and she thinks that you're just a dummy chasing women around. That's it. That's all. And she should just as well replace you with somebody younger, okay? And somebody who's essentially gay, right? A very weak man. And, the sad part about it is that half of the men, they'll go for that. They have no problem with that. Raymond says, just so funny, Mr. Dare. Yes, serpent means the slithering female. You calling me a Jew? It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, the serpent seduces her. And then she brings that to Adam, and then Adam falls for it. Adam was punished for not leading Eve, not for submitting in her evil. Okay. Adam was present when Eve disobeyed her father's order. Okay, that's a worthy distinction. I like that. He was punished for not leading. Following and not leading is also, they're kind of the same thing. But yes, that's a valuable distinction. So when we fail to lead as men, when we fail to embody our true nature as men, we are letting the women lead. They do not have the virtue. They really don't. They don't have the nature that the man has. We've been convinced that men are toxic, that men are lustful animals, unworthy, something to be shunned, something to be protected against. Look at the women on the news program in the video I showed. These are not young, healthy women. These are not childbearing women. They're fat. They're old. They're past their prime. They're bitter. They're frigid. They're hateful. They're dry. They don't even like young women. You know what I mean? So it's like, they hate men. It's like, they don't like anybody. Maybe they like babies. I don't know. No, sir. Just an extended joke, sir. I don't know how Adam, this is some good stuff. I don't know how Adam was reprimanded for Lilith's evil. The beginning of our republic's downfall was convincing mothers to work 40 plus hours. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, this is some great insight, Raymond. Uh, yeah, well, they don't include the Lilith part into, the Bible. It's there, but it wasn't included into the main one. This idea that she was the first woman and that she wouldn't even submit to Adam in any way, shape, or form, right? Uh, Vampire, the Masquerade. This is a role playing game, from a while back. Yeah, has Lilith from the biblical context as like the first vampire. It's like, the mother of vampires. The beginning of our republic's downfall was convincing mothers to work 40 plus hours. Yeah, there was something very interesting that happened there, in the late 60s, early 70s, as feminism, women's liberation was kicking in, and the idea, that a woman was just as good as a man and that we needed to protect women in the workplace. This largely was the beginning of, or serious problem of the breakup, of the male-female dynamic. The idea of the woman as a bread earner is also absurd. A woman as a bread earner is like a woman as the hunter. Okay? This comes from hunting gathering. Our roles. It comes from evolution. This stuff isn't in a vacuum. In other words, we can't just like all of a sudden start having sex change operations and it's going to work out. It's not. We've got millions of years of evolution that is dictating our biology, our physiology. And it's contextual, meaning it's not happening in a vacuum. It's happening in a social setting. And that's part of its inputs and outputs. So, in other words, you think if you just give a man a bunch of more testosterone, that he's going to become an alpha, but he's not, because the other things that would happen in context of him having more testosterone, they're not happening. He just has more testosterone. Okay? So he's not rising up within the group. He's not suddenly now being admired by the women. He is not suddenly leading, many of the men. All that's happening with him is that he feels stronger, more masculine, more muscular, more assertive, more aggressive. So he doesn't move up in the hierarchy. What he does is he just beats up more on the people who are beneath him in the hierarchy, because the adaptation is contextual. So if you build a gym in your, you're a young man, you build a gym in your basement. Part of the motivation for you working out is that you want to meet women, okay? And this is just, a hypothetical like situation, although it is, a situation that millions of men have, gone through. Okay, you start working out, okay? You start making progress. You feel good. Maybe you then develop a little bit more confidence with the women, okay? Maybe not. But what if you go to the gym? You're not in the basement. What if you go to the gym, okay? And you're working out. And the women are all around you. And they see you. And you're improving. And you were pretty good to begin with. And you're getting better. And you're seeing the same women over and over again. And you start to notice that they are noticing you. Not you noticing them. You are. But no, they're noticing you. And they like, they seem to be agreeable to you. They like the way you're working out. They like the way you move around in the gym. You can tell. That's contextual, okay? The testosterone boost that you're going to be getting in the gym compared to in your basement is vastly different. Vitamin D. All right. We can give you vitamin D and you will have more vitamin D. And this will allow you, a lot of your processes to continue and to, function a lot better. It's actually going to take a couple of weeks. Like you take the vitamin D, it goes into the liver, things happen, and then you have your vitamin D. But if you go out into the sunlight, not only are you getting your vitamin D, but you're getting 100 other inputs into your biological system. It's contextual. Yeah, I'm making good progress on my sunlight diet. Let's see what Raymond also is still saying here. He says, highest divorce rate in this country from gay and lesbians. Yeah, a lot of violence within their relationships too. Not certain serpents like themselves. Thank you for the conversation. Look forward to your posted videos. Thank you, Raymond. I look forward to your comments. Every MGTOW channel develops its own personality, its own subscribers. For example, Thinking Ape, very intellectual, right? Very analytical. Sandman, very productive, very on topic, very on subject, very consistent, very regular. GFM, fearless, political, aware of all kind of world situations. Myself, very intellectual, very literary, very philosophical, very analytical, but not so much as somebody else. You see what I mean? So there's differences, and I hate the idea that like there's got to be like, yeah, they were talking about like a MGTOW white paper, like a MGTOW set of requirements or something. But it was pretty strict, and I wasn't crazy about that. At the same time, yeah, there are some limits. Yeah, there are some boundaries going on here. They exist. So yeah, we do get those, this fringe element where, a man wants to dress up in a cheerleader's outfit and put on a wig and put MGTOW across his sweater. It's like, no, we don't need that. That's something completely different. James says D3 is, so important. It's like a hormone. Yeah, it's like the precursor to a lot of our hormones. And the sunlight on our skin is the actual source, is the main source of it, from my understanding. Any insight you guys have, I really appreciate, Shinobi says, I think the government has always been messing with families and life. Not like they have been. I don't think it's been like they were lately. I think that they respected the idea that if they could build strong families, they would build strong citizens, and then they would have a strong country. I think that America is founded on, this principle, of individual rights, and then how these extend to the family itself. And the man is the head of the family. Sorry, right? So I say something like that, and I've got, the women are saying like, I'm offended. Have I got someone coming in? I might have. Curbing speed. His microphone is muted. We'll see, right? I just wanted to see how this would look. I forgot what I was talking about. I got so excited. Right? Oh yeah, we're talking about families. I respected the family. Hello, Curbing Speed. Can you hear me?
Good night, Mr. Deer.
Good evening, sir. Thanks for stopping by. You are the first guest of the new Howard Dare live streams.
Long time listener, first time caller.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm so pleased. I had my channel going pretty big there back 5-6 years ago. Had a lot of followers, got myself arrested. Wasn't my fault. A woman falsely accused me. And it's good to be back. You know what I mean? So I appreciate all my listeners. I appreciate all my subscribers. So how are you doing tonight?
A little bit warm, but can't really complain.
Good, good. Where are you calling from? Like, what general area?
The Caribbean.
The Caribbean, bro. Oh, how nice. How nice. I suppose it's very humid and hot out there right now.
Yep. Unfortunately, the air conditioning is down tonight, but yeah, we'll get by. We'll get by.
Yeah, yeah. I'm out here in Arizona and it gets hot out here, but it doesn't get humid. So it's really not that bad. But humidity is, that really can drain the energy right out of you.
True.
Yeah. I remember living in California with the higher humidity, and yeah, if it could shut the air conditioners down, and it could certainly shut the swamp coolers down. So tell me, uh, what do you think about the Trump election and what's been going on here in America from the Caribbean point of view?
I see a lot of comparisons that uh well, just plain common sense I could appreciate.
Good.
For instance, I live in Trinidad, which is not really doxing
Uh-huh.
myself, but we live practically next door to Venezuela. So
Hmm.
we're going through the exact same issues like America.
Ah, yes, yes, yes. I'm familiar with Trinidad. Uh, Unfortunately, just from the maps and some games that I played in the past. So you're out there in the hurricane land, but it must be quite beautiful. I've always dreamed of, going to the Caribbean with white sandy beaches and things like that. Is it as beautiful as it looks in the pictures?
Yes and no, but mostly yes.
Right? Yeah, I understand. I understand. I'm okay with that. The idea that, these are the pictures in the nice areas and things like that. But, there's other stuff going on there. How about the cost of living? Is it very expensive to live there? Rent, groceries, things like that.
It it's not too bad. I mean, a person could get by with 1/7 of the daily needs for an American, so
Hmm. Hmm.
it's not bad.
Nice. No, not bad at all. What about something like Amazon? I know that's a silly question. Does Amazon ship to you in Trinidad?
Yeah, we do have to use PO boxes at like a central hub, but there are many shipping companies that do
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
subcontract, so it's not
I
really
see.
a problem.
No, no, it's not a problem. And how foolish of me to not realize that, of course it would work that way. Like they might not be out there driving trucks up to your front door, but of course they're delivering to you. I'm sorry. Uh, I haven't been live streaming in this fashion for, over 5 years. So I'm still, learning, getting used to, do the things I need to learn how to do and things like that. Uh, are there other MGTOW channels that you listen to?
Of course, maybe
Mm-hmm.
too many to list.
Uh-huh,
Rusty
uh-huh.
is a regular, but
Rusty is a
many of
regular.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
get out of my face, cat. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
many of them like Brandon Trueblood, like
Mm-hmm.
Hammer Hand, even
Of
Shinobi
course.
when he gets around to it.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Uh, I listen in sometimes on the Hammerhand podcasts. He always impresses me, you know. To look at him and to hear him, you think that that he's going to be some gruff, uh, tough, kind of unthinking, brutish kind of guy. But he's really intelligent and he's really thoughtful and he's really quite nuanced in his opinions. And I'm really glad that Hammerhand is here, to interact with the MGTOW men, to give them something to focus on, to give them some direction, some leadership. Uh, yeah, I've come to really like him. Now I know he's hard, right? I know that he's hard. That he states things very directly, no bullshit. He doesn't pull any punches, but he's also fair and he's also really smart. So yeah, he's good. I didn't know that Shinobi I should go to Shinobi's channel. Yeah,
He's got
Shinobi's got.
some old videos up, but
Uh
yeah,
huh.
because his laptop's been down for a while now, as you
Uh huh.
mentioned in the comics, it's cooked.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I would say to anyone in this manosphere that the smartest thing to do is don't just doggedly subscribe to any one particular person, but
Mm-hmm.
absorb the information as best you can from as many channels as possible. You will pretty much get a good idea of who is actually out there for the men and who
Mm-hmm.
are there for their own benefits.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Um.
Yeah.
No, I'm just coming up with some additional questions. You know. Let me ask you this. Do you think that the philosophy of MGTOW extends beyond relationships between men and women? In other words, does it get into politics? Does it get into uh, social justice? Or is the media and its pernicious influence, this feministic, gynocentric, leftist influence upon us? Do you consider that part of MGTOW?
Well, yes. I'd say I do like the KISS idea, keep it simple, stupid.
Hmm.
Where it is, you look at MGTOW, it was formed basically because of politics. So it
Hmm.
is very much connected. But
Hmm.
as
Hmm.
for where it progresses, it will be a major concern. We're already seeing the repopulation growth practically non-existent. I
Yeah,
mean, what, 1 point something now?
yeah,
Um,
very bad.
if things don't change like drastically at some point, then we're just heading off straight into extinction. So
So it seems, there's an interesting, the Mouse Utopia experiments by, I believe it was Calhoun in the 50s.
was
One
it
of the,
Universe 27?
pardon me?
Oh no, I was trying to remember the other name for it. Universe 27, I think.
Hmm, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. But, the Mouse Utopia experiments, and one of the interesting things about it was that once the mice had gone through this experience of, being in the habitat where everything was taken care of for them and the population exploded and the mice then went insane and started killing each other. And some of them would just retreat and, known as the pretty ones, and just groom themselves. So after the mice had lived in this population setting, they tried to take some of them and put them back into a normal, natural mouse habitat, and they could not adapt. So even if circumstances were to change here for us, it's unlikely that the men are ever going to be, this group of men, these generations of men, it's very unlikely that they're going to be getting together with the women and repopulating the world.
True, but I do try to draw some wisdom from what other people
Oh yeah.
explain. And one thing I do try to remind people of, or if they would listen, is that MGTOW is just a phase. Maybe
Hmm.
not in the sense that we like to think of things, but in the sense that in time,
Hmm.
MGTOW won't be needed. At
Hmm.
some point, balance will be regained. Maybe it
Hmm.
might need something so far and drastic as repealing the 19th Amendment. We will
Hmm.
see. But at the same time, we need women
Oh
and
yeah.
women need men.
Yes,
So
this is
if
true.
this thing is to work out, we're gonna have to come to some compromise, and whether it goes back, sorry, to traditional roles,
Hmm.
or we need to be in separate living quarters at some point. Things will
Hmm.
have to change. We will have to
Hmm.
come back together as one.
Well, that's very wise. That's very mature. That's very thoughtful, for you to put that out there. Excuse me. It's a hard one, though, within the MGTOW community. Uh, but yes, I agree with you. Um, myself, I have always adopted Barbarossa's view from way back concerning this, and that is that if the man can meet the right woman who brings enough to the table and she can respect the man and allow the man to be the man, uh, I have no, I don't see any problem with a man forming that type of relationship. Now, will that affect his testosterone, his physiology? Yes, it will. Of course it will. But that's okay. So it's, for me, it's been going my own way from a bad deal, from an unfair situation, as opposed to simply going my own way from women, period, until the end of my life. And this is a very interesting question for the men out there. If you did meet what you consider to be the right woman with the right attitude, okay, and if the environment were a little better legally, family courts here for the men, would you form, I'm not asking would you get married, would you have the relationship? And I think many men would, because the men are desperate for the female affection. Uh, yeah. So,
I would have to agree. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That view was put forth by Barbarossa way back in the earlier days of MGTOW, and a lot of more hardline views, have come in to MGTOW since then. I don't, disagree or agree or go into heavy commenting on it. But yes, men do need women and women do need men. Unfortunately, the environment is not allowing for that right now, but there may come a time, and perhaps the Trump presidency and some of these changes that we're experiencing now are the beginning of that.
I wholeheartedly agree. Things are really shaping up.
Yeah, I think so as well. It really does look like this Trump presidency is going to have a positive impact on the world and on America, as opposed to the last one, which kind of went south. Uh, do you have any advice for Trump?
Me? Oh,
Yes,
oh
you,
no.
sir.
I'm just a kid, really. I mean, be 40 this year, but still, I don't think I have enough wisdom to give that multi-millionaire businessman. As long as he keeps it business, I think we'll come out of this pretty good.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think he needs to, keep the pedal to the metal. I think he's moving fast enough that by the time the opposition tries to respond, to what he's doing, he's already moved on to something new. Excuse me. And I think that's a very good strategy. Um, how's the media over there in the Caribbean? Is it a very leftist leaning media like we have here in America, or is it a more balanced sort of media?
Not at all balanced. I think we're more leftists. If you
Mm-hmm.
could read into the stories, if it is you could get past the obvious heavy bias, you could kind of understand what's going on. It's more politics than anything else. What with
Hmm.
being a tiny speck of an island in the Caribbean, we are pretty much dependent on everyone else. Could be
Mm-hmm.
tourism, but no longer are we on natural resources. So whichever person's in power,
Mm-hmm.
if it was Kamala, it would have been the same kowtowing or kowtowing. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, pretty much
Interesting.
we follow whichever way the wind blows.
Yeah, that's understandable. I can respect that given the situation, you know, that that you're in there. Um, but do you think if the election had taken place in the Caribbean where you live, would they would have elected Kamala? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that we wouldn't vote for a female president, or well, in our case, it's more prime minister. We
Uh-huh.
have done it before, and
Uh-huh.
a pretty close name difference to the previous prime minister was well, one of our previous prime minister was Kamala, not Kamala, but yeah, pretty
Oh,
close.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, I really didn't. Yeah, I didn't ever really get the difference between Kamala and Kamal. It's like,
Neither me. It's silly.
yeah, yeah. She did not acquit herself well on the campaign trail, uh, but I don't know that anybody could have compared to Trump. For myself, it's very upsetting that our news media lies to us. They were telling us that the candidates were neck and neck. And then by the time the election came along, Trump had won all of the swing states and the popular vote. So it was never neck and neck. They were never close. And yet the news kept reporting it as if it were. So who do we trust? And with the scandals, with the declassifying of a lot of our documents, that Trump is going to do, it's going to be very upsetting, for here in America, and it's going to be very upsetting to the rest of the world as well, because it's going to turn out that America, is doing some dirty stuff too, all around the world.
True.
Yeah.
I consider myself somewhat of a conspiracy theorist. I enjoy quite a lot of far out there ideas, but
Mhm.
since the pandemic,
Yeah.
it's been joked of that the difference between conspiracy theory and fact is usually 6 months.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. There you
that
go.
seems to be very true. So if
Yeah.
in 6 months' time we find some declassified documents, I wouldn't be surprised if many conspiracy theorists was actually right all along.
Well, I believe that a huge part of the American population, the Democrat population, they're losing it. They're really suffering, I would imagine. They're not just pretending, to be upset. These people are existentially,
Full
having a crisis.
full blown TDS.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Um, and I found it very revealing, the attack on Elon Musk's young engineer helpers, Mr. Big Balls, right? But the attack, he's a 19-year-old young man. He's brilliant and he's working hard and he's, in the public light now. And the fact that he called himself, Big Balls, that's not a serious offense. You know what I mean? That's not something that they should have tried to shame him over, and yet they did. So it's very unsettling, to see this kind of uh,
Character
one-sided treatment.
assassination.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Character assassinations, this type of abuse, this type of neglect, this type of lack of regard for the truth and for decency. Uh, it's very hard. It's very hard for us to experience it. And here in America now, we know that the majority of the people, they don't agree with it either. So at least that's the good side.
It's sad that more people, or I should say politicians, are upset not that there is corruption, but that it's being exposed. It actually quite reveals who is for the American citizens and who is for their own, well, pockets,
Mhm.
fattening themselves up.
Uh, that's a wonderful distinction right there. Not the fact that there is corruption, but the fact that it's being exposed. Yeah, that actually says quite a lot, because some of this corruption that is being exposed in behavior, um, technically, it's probably in the United States interests. Uh, I know that's a terrible thing to say, but there it is. And for me to characterize it all as this left-wing slush fund, no, that's not going to be accurate. So we're in for some big surprises in the near future, and unfortunately, we're going to find out that like the last 50 years of what we thought were conspiracy theories were actually facts. So it's not going to be 6 months. It's going to be, we're going to get hit with approximately 50 years worth of it very soon.
Like a data dump. But on the
Exactly.
plus side, it is very commendable. Whether it be a street interview or not, we are hearing quite a change. I mean, a lot of people did have die-hard tendencies, both blue no
Mhm.
matter who, to be a Democrat
Mhm.
supporter for life. But they
Yes.
are coming around to realize that, there are those that actually care and those that don't. And when it is you look at, a simple random black man, he could actually
Mhm.
uh, look back at the past and realize that, there are those people that did nothing for them, whether it
Oh,
be
indeed.
Democratic representatives or not. But, as a black man in America, you could accomplish so much as long as you
Indeed.
have the mind, the wherewithal, and the effort put
Mhm.
behind the improvement of your life. It could be achieved. They say that
Absolutely.
America is the land of the free, home of the brave. You
Mhm.
could elevate yourself. It's not like you're living in India and you're
True.
part of the untouchable class.
Ah, the Chandala, or yeah, the Chandala, I believe. So you know of them. They're a very tragic situation. And in a way, the men have become that class. And hmm, yeah, I was
Society
very,
is kind of warped. Yeah.
yeah, I was very touched by that particular class and what they have to go through in India. They're not allowed, to wear fresh clothes. They can only wear rags. That's all they're allowed to have. They're not allowed to have cooking ware. They're not allowed to have fresh, clean pots and pans. They can only have used, old, broken things. So the entire society is going out of their way to keep these people at the very bottom, of their society, and their existence is completely miserable and suffering. And the whole society works to keep them there. And yeah, I think I actually read about that reading of through one of Nietzsche's books.
Mm.
Yeah, no, very interesting. These things that you're speaking of. Um, Tell me, what kind of a background, education wise, do you have? What is it that you like to study? What is it do you like to read? Um, yeah.
Uh, I'm a bit of a weirdo. I read a lot. I
Mhm.
read manga, I read light novels, I read books, I read novels, you name it.
Mhm.
A lot
Mhm.
of cartoon, a lot of anime. I
Mhm.
follow as much as I could, I read as much as I could. But as for education, um, university was my highest
Mhm.
level. Work,
Wow.
and I'm a bit all over the place, but I don't think I'm like a great representative of Trinidadians, really. I'm just a weirdo.
Hmm. Not a great. You don't think so? Hmm. Yeah, well, I don't think the men think much of themselves in this day and age. I think that a lot of it, has been taken away from us, and I'm hoping that I can restore some of that, especially here in America. Especially here in the Western societies, the women have been in charge for the last 50 years or so, and they've destroyed the men, and it's bad for someone my age. I can't imagine how horrible it is for a young man growing up through this, the kind of
Well,
supplicating that he has to do just to get along in his family with his female family members.
Well, things are not terrible, but we are in a not necessarily third world country. I more like to think of us as being
Mhm.
westernized. So
Sure.
whereas someone might travel away and come back, they come back usually, even if it's from England, with a freshwater Yankee accent. The idea, though, is that they bring across their Caribbean flavors elsewhere, but they come back with foreign mindsets. So, what would be in westernized? We don't exactly have dating culture. We lime, if that makes sense. So, we might bust a lime, we might just go and hang out, but meeting and greeting with women, the dating game is not quite the same. It's not
Hmm.
better, but it's quite weird.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is there a powerful, kind of social life there in Trinidad? Like, do the women and do the men they go out on Friday and Saturday nights and go to their clubs and go out dancing? I would assume that they do.
Yep, a lot of that. Um, Nowadays, though, church is a pickup joint too. So
Church too, huh? Okay, that's
yeah,
good.
you name it, there's somewhere for you to get in and meet some ladies. It's always a
Mm-hmm.
possibility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. What about media? I take it, you have your own local media, television and things like that, but I'm sure that movies and are the same movies, entertainment and things that we get, isn't it?
Well, if we're talking traditional media, not well, newspapers and internet and even TV, I like to follow American or even foreign news because oddly enough, I'll use a simple example. In America, a few years back, I believe copper 1 cent coins were discontinued,
Mm-hmm.
right? And not a day later, Trinidad government decided to do the same thing, discontinue printing. So me following what goes on abroad is me seeing ahead of what will happen here the
Mm-hmm.
very next day. So when it comes to the news, I don't really give it a full ear. I just, you know, give it a listening, glancing ear, if anything. As
Mm-hmm.
for actual media, entertainment and stuff, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, long as you have internet, you could get, well, you name it, you could get it. I
Yeah, of
actually
course.
talked to a friend the other day, and he could get a link. Well, we use like a flash drive thing, and could
Mm-hmm.
connect to the internet and get Netflix, get cable channels, get whatever. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry that I'm not like obviously recognizing that you have the internet out there. I'm so sorry. Uh,
no
I don't,
big,
no,
that's okay.
I'm just trying to go into the whole novelty of the situation. It's like, oh, you're from the Caribbean, right? It's like, oh, do you have cars out there? It's like, yes, Howard, we have cars, right? You know, I like to play that game. Like, I'm out here in Arizona, and I tell people, like we still have wagons and horses and tumbleweeds and shit like that. It's like, no, we don't. I mean, of course they're out here, but no, it's just a modern city. So,
That's okay.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm excited by novelty, right? This is Yeah. Okay. I could go into a whole other kind of situation. Have you been to America? Yes.
I have not. The
Oh.
furthest I've went is in a twin island republic, Trinidad and Tobago, which is an even smaller speck of an island.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
But I haven't really traveled much.
Okay. Okay. Now, are you allowed, as a citizen of Trinidad, are you allowed to travel openly to the other islands that are so near, well, that are, somewhat close by?
Yeah, actually, as long as you have your ID card, your national ID card, you should be able to travel without needing a passport anywhere in the Caribbean.
Uh huh. Now, what about South America? If you were to try to go to Venezuela or something like that?
Depending on how big a nation or how big a country it is, you'd probably have to get a visa and passport and all of those things organized.
Hmm. Hmm. What about Caracas, which is what I understand is like close to Brazil, but it's still one of the islands
I
out
have
there. It's
I
actually
haven't looked into every one of them, so I can't say. But if it's in the
uh
Caribbean, it's free travel.
okay. Yeah, this is actually like closer to South America as opposed to Caribbean, uh, or at least that whole Florida area. Um, how close you're you're out there near Cuba then as well, aren't you?
Yep,
Yes.
yep, yep. In the whole archipelago, we're the last island just before Venezuela. So
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So, what's the surf like? Do you have beautiful surf out there? I would assume you do.
well, unlike television and all the ads they run, only in certain beaches is the water actually clear. Salty as hell, riptides a lot of deadly currents underwater. You gotta go with a seriously professional crew not to get caught up or
Wow.
even pulled out. It could be
Mhm.
treacherous, but so long as you have a trustworthy crew, you could snorkel, you could swim, you could there are safer spots than others. But
Okay.
it
Okay.
could be good as long as you go in with a mind prepared for it.
Do you have very many shark attacks out there?
I'm sure we do, but They
Right.
usually get I wouldn't say hushed up, but overlooked for the more
Right.
salacious headlines. If it bleeds, it leads. So
Wow.
it's kind of
Mm,
rare to hear anything about shark attacks. More like
sure.
neighbor uses cutlass and chops baby girl in half.
Right, right. Well, and that, of course, was my next question. What's the local crime, situation? I'm sure you get the news from here in America, some of the local news, and certainly on the internet. So you've got some ideas to like how violent things are out here. Um, do you have government
Yeah, we're
protests and things?
we do, but people are usually easily distracted with their goldfish memories. They be for maybe 1 week caring and protesting, and then the next week later is whatever takes the news headlines next. So I think we are fully in the cusp of legacy media's hands locally.
Wow. Well, yeah, that is what we're looking at. The end of legacy media, and we're watching it die like a dinosaur. And we're watching all the death struggles. Although it is so powerful that it's not going to die. It's going to reform is what it's going to do.
Evolve, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
From what
Um,
from what I've seen so far is they're trying to copy the YouTube formats where people appear. Sometimes they put on an imitation personality to appeal to a wider demographic,
mhm.
and scrambling to keep up. They're trying. Excuse me.
Yeah.
They're trying, and they pretty much will copy the patterns needed so that they will end up cornering this market as well. Monetizations and whatever censoring
Hmm.
techniques they use, pretty much they're going to push out any competition.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
just like you say, it's just an evolution. It's just a matter of time.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah. I appreciate your take on this situation. How are they going to evolve, um, given the media that they're in, essentially cable television? Uh, they don't. They're not going to be able to copy an interactive model in that setting, right? They're still just a one-way media. They put their information out and very little information comes back to them. It's not this two-way communication. So I'm not exactly sure how they're going to get their credibility back.
Well,
I
it's
just,
really easy when you think about it. It's a lot like Twitter. As long as you can
mhm.
have your bots lined up, it's pretty easy to give the impression that you are trusted,
Oh
that
my.
you are followed, that you have a big old following and subscriber base or whatever is needed to
Mhm.
legitimize the idea that you are the voice of the people.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. So you see where these things are going. You've got some insight as to what's going on.
Eh,
Congratulations.
just a drop. I can't say I could see everything. I could
Of course
maybe
not.
see a little bit further than the other people in the country.
Well, if the person is in a moment to moment kind of fight or flight stage, as media, as triggering, can actually put people into this kind of into a mode, they're not really thinking and planning for the future and analyzing and extrapolating, how things are going to
True.
work. So in other words, they
Very,
can,
very true.
yeah, like they can come
Go
out
on.
onto the news tonight and say, there's been an assassination attempt, and a lot of the clear thinking from the citizens in the country, is disrupted quite easily.
Yeah. Um, what you say there, I would comment on in particular. People don't think ahead. Maybe financially they might invest. Maybe they might even plan ahead in insurance. But for the most part, when it comes to uh, like normal essential preparations, just for
Mhm.
like a month's advance in food, you don't
Exactly.
really see many people doing that. It's more like a day-to-day thing, month to month even.
Well, this is one of the ways to control people so that they don't really become powerful and rise up against you if you're running a questionable, corrupt government. is to keep them in a day to day, week to week, at best month to month basis, paycheck to paycheck, constantly dependent. And
True, but you can give it to some Trinis in that we mightn't be able to accumulate wealth as quickly as banks or corporations, but we have something called a susu, where even any group, let me say of 5 people, could put together their monies and end up making like a mini bank. So if
interesting.
you need if you need to let's say buy a car or something in less than a year time, you could have that money put up and you
Hmm.
could organize yourself. Could be a business, could be whatever endeavor. But
Huh.
we do come up with interesting ways to go around the usual
Yes.
steadfast ways.
Well, necessity is the mother of invention.
True.
Yeah. So that's really quite wonderful. Um, I have such a narrow view of the world myself because I haven't been around for the last few years. I've been in a very desperate situation myself, living day to day, moment to moment. So I'm very impressed with your insight into all these issues. Tell me, do they know anything about MGTOW in the Caribbean?
Yeah, actually, we I was introduced to it by a friend about red pill
Hmm.
and female nature many years ago, and even if they don't know about the label itself, they do pretty much live the tenets, or a
Hmm.
lot of them follow the understandings that they get from online interactions, or even just videos like what you put out.
Hmm. Interesting, interesting. And your media is dominated by a gynocentric feminist set of sensibilities, I would also assume, of
Yep.
course. Yes, yes. Um,
I do understand from my coworkers and some other friends' experiences that on the plus side, when it comes to family courts, it's a
mhm,
little bit better than the
mhm,
American family courts, just a
mhm.
little.
Just a little. Yeah,
Well,
not by
I'll
much.
explain it. When it comes to the child and child support, before
Yes.
that even starts,
Mhm.
mandatory paternity testing.
Oh, wow. I don't even think we have that here in America. Like, I don't think you're allowed.
Germany, France, so I hear it's illegal.
I got to check this one out. Um, I'm wondering if paternity testing
Well,
in divorce in America. AI is searching. Yes, paternity testing can be used in divorce in America if there's a question about who the biological father of a child is. And a court can order,
unfortunately,
yes, and a court can order a paternity test to be conducted to establish parentages,
yep.
which can significantly impact child custody, support payments, and visitation rights during the divorce proceedings. Only when needed. Key points about the paternity testing in divorce, only
Yes.
when needed. A paternity test is not automatically done in every divorce. It's only requested if there is a legitimate doubt about the father's identity. Huh. So if a man and a woman were getting divorced, and the woman, was saying, "I want $20,000 a month for me and my child," and the man were to say, "I don't think that I am the biological father of that child," uh, the court wouldn't necessarily consider that to be a situation where it's required. You know what I mean? They could just simply say, "No, it's your kid. You're paying the money." But if the woman,
From
it's like a woman wondering if the child is hers.
from what I gather, it's a segregation for the courts, and it's to their benefit that they keep everything separated. So, family court is one, divorce court
Yeah.
is another, and the actual child custody hearing is be separated as well. So,
Huh.
at least when it comes to child custody, that's when the DNA is tested. But there are some instances that we do learn and do better by
Mhm.
looking at the other examples, but it's almost very, very rare. Very gynocentric though, in the sense that the punishments meted out to women is still, yeah, pretty much as you'd expect.
Okay, well, I didn't know that, and I just looked into it, and yes, it's the same way here in America. Divorce and child custody are considered separate legal issues. Um, yeah, determined separately. Okay, well, that's decent. That's a good way to look at that. I appreciate that. All right, that's all good. So, how are we doing here on this live stream? Let me look at my numbers because I don't really care about the numbers too much. Okay, we've got 11 concurrent viewers at one point, so doing pretty good. Oh, there's that.
Well, they tuned in for you. Lord knows I only really called in just so that it wouldn't just be you on the live stream whole night.
Well, no, I really appreciate that, and I can tell. Well, thank you. It was very decent of you. And moving into the future, I'm sure that it will become much more active and a lot more fun and a lot more stuff going on. As I said, I haven't really been able to do this for about 5 years now, so I'm very excited and I'm very pleased to be able to meet people who have been listening to me for a long time. You sound like you're a very intelligent, very thoughtful, very communicative, expressive young man. You should definitely make some content because I think it could help a lot of people. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody who's been stopping by here just to hang out since I'm really just trying to get my feet underneath me, in doing this. But I am going to call it a night because I don't know what else to talk about. I could watch videos
Well,
and hang out all night. It's all right. But uh, I've got a,
I will
I've got,
give some disclosure. I'm actually using a crappy headset, so I'm pretty surprised I'm coming through clearly every other time I call in anybody else. I never sound this clear. I'm shocked.
well, no, you're
So this
coming
was
through
me
perfectly.
running an experiment as well.
Very good. Very good. I'm glad. We're trying to be useful, trying to get things done. Okay. So I'm going to do this again in the near future. Anybody here is, of course, welcome to, come in and join me when when I do these things. Um, and going to leave it at that. Let me check the comments section before I go, though. Okay.
Well, I'll sign out here though. Have a good night and everyone stay MGTOW.
All right. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. It's been very nice talking with you, Curbing Speed.
Cubing, but yeah, that's fine too.
Cubing? Cubing. I apologize. Yeah, it says cubing. I read curbing.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll catch you guys on the flip. Have a good night.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a fundamental difference there between cubing speed and curbing speed. My bad. All right. Well, that was pretty good. He was really smart, huh? That was wonderful. I didn't think that would happen so well. Uh, yeah, some guy got bitten, got swallowed by a great white. Yeah, they'll do that. They're big. All right, you guys. Well, thanks for stopping by, everybody. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you have any ideas, for how I could run some of these future streams. I think there's going to be a lot more animation happening. If you're in a position to do so, I would really appreciate your support over there on Cash App. Just, trying to improve my situation here. Man, I'm going to have to listen to the audio coming out of this thing and figure out, see how bad it is. So let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section below. Thank you guys for all stopping by. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, donate. Join me again, Howard Dare, as I plan, assuming that I don't get arrested, to have more content for you. Thank you, MGTOW, and have a great night.